You can take her to the most expensive restaurants. You can shower her with flowers, jewelry, and fly her to tropical resorts. But one perfectly timed phrase will do more for her attraction than all your gifts combined over an entire year. Why? Because most men try to buy her. Only a select few understand how to activate her. They know, intuitively or consciously, the ultimate secret. A woman's body is a lock. And the key to that lock isn't in your wallet or your muscles. It's in her mind. And that key is verbal. Sigmund Freud himself, the man who cracked open the human subconscious, spoke of the magical power of words. He understood that words aren't just sound waves. They are codes that bypass consciousness and hit the control center of emotions, desires, and instincts, especially the female control center. And today, we are going to demolish the biggest male myth. I'm not going to give you advice on how to be a nice guy. Instead, I'm going to show you 5 phrases that are pure aphrodisiacs. 5 verbal keys, 5 psychologically charged triggers that target her animalistic side, bypassing the filters of logic and common sense. This knowledge is dangerous because it works without fail. What you're about to learn is dangerous because it works every single time. But I'm ready to share it. Before we start, I need your help. Like this video so I know we're on the same page. And if you're new here and not afraid at the deep end, make sure you subscribe. And before we begin, I'd love to know where you're all watching from. Please drop your city in the comments. Seeing how far our ideas are spreading is incredibly important to me. Part 1. Phrase number 1. I love how you do that. The uniqueness trig, the first and perhaps most subtle trigger phrase. A phrase that will instantly separate you from the crowd of 99% of men. It sounds like this. I love how you do that. And the key word here is how. So what's the magic? It completely changes the plane of validation. The vast majority of men, when they want to give a compliment, praise the result or the object. You're beautiful. This dinner is delicious. You're a good driver. It's generic, predictable, and almost always misses the mark. Because a beautiful woman has heard it 1,000 times. Her brain developed a spam filter for it long ago. The phrase, I love how you do that, shatters that filter. It shifts the focus from the object to the process, to her unique style, to her personal signature. You're not complimenting her looks, but her expression. Not the meal, but the passion with which she cooks it. Not her dancing, but the way she closes her eyes when she feels the music. This shows her one crucial thing. You are observant. You don't just look at her, you see her. This is a game-changing distinction. It's one thing to say, you look great in that dress. It's entirely different to say, I love how you wear that dress. With such confidence and a little bit of an edge. It's disarming. The psychological impact of this hits like a sniper's bullet. The thought instantly wires itself into her brain. He sees something in me that others don't. He values my essence, not just my cover. To him, I'm not like everyone else. This is a direct hit on a woman's deepest need to be unique to her man. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the persona. It's our social mask, the image we present to the world. When a man says, you're beautiful, he's talking to her persona. But when you say, I love the way you wrinkle your nose when you laugh, you're not talking to the mask. You're talking to the real her. You see a crack in her armor and tell her that crack is beautiful. This phrase is the verbal confirmation of her exceptionalism. In a world where everything is standardized, you give her the most valuable gift, the acknowledgement of her irreplaceability. And after something like that, a woman starts to see you through a completely different lens. Because you're no longer just another guy. You've become the one who figured her out. Part 2, phrase number 2, I'm different with you. The influence TRIGGR, the second phrase, is a nuclear weapon for her ego. It sounds simple, but its effect is colossal. I'm different with you. Or variations like, you make me a better man. Or around you, I feel like I can move mountains. How does it work? A man, by his nature, is a vector of force moving in a specific direction. And most men, in their interactions with a woman, project their steadfastness, their stability. I am who I am. This works to create a sense of reliability, but it doesn't create attraction. Attraction is always about dynamics, about change. By saying, I'm different with you, you're showing her that she isn't just a passenger in your life. She is a catalyst, a powerful force that influences your vector. You're admitting that her presence changes your very essence, unlocking facets of yourself you might not have even known existed. You become stronger, bolder, deeper, all because of her. The psychological effect of this phrase strikes at the heart of one of the most sacred female needs, to be a muse. To not just be a beautiful accessory to a man, but to be the one who inspires and changes him. She doesn't just hear a compliment. She hears, you have an influence on me. Your feminine energy is so powerful that it's changing my masculine core. In Jungian psychology, there's the concept of the anima, the unconscious feminine side of a man's psyche. When you tell a woman, I'm different with you, you're essentially telling her, you resonate so perfectly with my anima, my inner woman, that you awaken the entirety of me, making me whole. This is the deepest level of acknowledgement of her feminine nature. This sends her healthy ego into overdrive. She understands that her influence on you isn't manipulation, but a natural process. She isn't fixing you. She's unleashing you. For a woman, there is no greater aphrodisiac than feeling her own significance in a man's life. You're not just giving her flowers. You're giving her the feeling that she is the co-author of the best version of yourself. This phrase is completely disarming because it shows your strength through vulnerability. Only a truly strong and self-confident man isn't afraid to admit that a woman influences him. A weak man will try to prove his independence. A strong man will show that with the right woman, he becomes even stronger. And that is precisely what makes you incredibly attractive in her eyes. Part 3. Phrase number 3. I want to remember this moment. The depth TRGG, the third phrase, is a time machine. It's a tool that turns any ordinary situation into a legend. A moment she will replay in her mind before falling asleep. It goes like this. I want to remember this moment. How does it work? We live in a constant flow. Dinner, a walk, a conversation in the car. It all flies by and fades from memory. 99% of dates are just pleasant ways to pass the time. Nothing more. This phrase acts as a verbal freeze frame. You literally press pause and say, this, right here, right now. This is important. You're not just telling her you like her. You're showing that you like the world that comes into being when you are together. You value not just her, but the atmosphere, the energy, the very moment you are creating. This elevates your relationship from the category of him and her to the category of us. For example, you're sitting at an outdoor cafe. She's telling a story with passion, laughing. In that instant, you stop smiling, look at her with complete seriousness, and after a short pause, you say, wait, I want to remember this moment. Right now. That's it. The effect is a bombshell detonating in her soul. A regular evening just became a historic event. The psychological effect of this phrase is that it strikes at the very core of a woman's romantic nature. A woman thinks in stories, not events. She doesn't just want a date. She wants your story. With this phrase, you're making it clear. This isn't just a date. This is the beginning of our story. I am the man who sees something more in this. It instantly adds a cinematic quality and significance to your relationship. She's no longer just a girl you're seeing. She becomes the heroine of a novel. Your novel. This creates an incredibly powerful emotional bond because you're showing that you value not just the future with her or the past, but the present itself. You know how to be here and now, and you see the value in it. Freud spoke about how childhood memories shape our entire lives. This phrase is the act of creating a shared adult memory in real time. It's as if you're saying to her, let's create the moment at 10 years from now. We'll look back on as the beginning of everything. You are programming her mind for a long-term relationship, showing that you think not in terms of a single night, but on the scale of forever. It's after moments like these that she begins to see you not just as a lover, but as a potential life partner, a man who can find the magic in the mundane. And that is one of the rarest and most valuable masculine qualities. Part 4, PHRASE, number Y. You're driving me crazy. The power TRIGGR, and now we get to the sharpest, most dangerous, and most powerful trigger. This phrase is pure subconscious. It's the key that unlocks her primal feminine nature. It goes like this. You're driving me crazy. How does it work? On the surface, it's just a passionate compliment. But its power isn't in the words themselves, but in what they imply. With this phrase, you are voluntarily and completely admitting a loss of control. You, the man, who by nature is supposed to be logical, rational, and in control, are declaring that her influence over you is so total that your reason is retreating in the face of animalistic desire. This must be said not in a gentle voice, but with a slight rasp at the peak of passion when you are already close. When you look her in the eyes and say this, you're not just talking. You are surrendering. You are handing all the power to her. You are telling her, my brain has shut down. The only thing speaking now is instinct. And that instinct is you. The psychological effect of this phrase is a direct appeal to what Freud called the ID. It's our animal nature, the reservoir of instincts, desires, and libido. When you say, you're driving me crazy, you're not speaking to her mind or her ego. You are speaking directly to her ID, and her subconscious hears, my power over him is absolute. My feminine power can shatter his masculine control. For a woman, this is the ultimate validation of her sexual attractiveness and power. In the modern world, where everyone talks about equality, we often forget the primal polarity of masculine and feminine. A man wants to dominate the world, and a woman wants to dominate the man who dominates the world. With this phrase, you allow her to feel that total power for a moment. And that, in turn, drives her crazy. This activates her most ancient instincts. She feels desired not on a logical level, but on a chemical level, a primal level, a level of animal magnetism. It absolves her of all responsibility. If she's driving you crazy, then whatever happens next isn't her rational decision. It's a force of nature. It's inevitable. And that is exactly what allows a woman to completely let go and surrender to the moment. This is the level of depth you'll find in every one of my videos. If this is the approach you've been looking for, now is the perfect time to subscribe. Part 5. Phrase number 5. I want to listen to you. The trust TRIG. Fifth phrase is the key that opens the final door. The door behind which lies complete, unconditional trust. Once that door is open, physical intimacy becomes merely the natural and inevitable consequence. The phrase sounds deceptively simple. I want to listen to you. How does it work? In a world where everyone wants to talk about themselves, where everyone is trying to impress, you do something counterintuitive. You offer her the most valuable thing a person has, your 100% undivided attention. You're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You are creating a safe space for her to be herself. This phrase shouldn't be said in passing. It should be used when she's sharing something, perhaps a bit hesitantly or unsurely. You stop her, gently take her hand, look into her eyes and say, "Wait, this is important. I want to listen to you." In that moment, the rest of the world ceases to exist for her. There's only you, your eyes, and your sincere desire to understand her inner world. The psychological effect of this phrase is that it completely disarms her defense mechanisms. Every woman, especially a beautiful one, is used to men wanting her body. They look at her figure, her face. They listen with half an ear, waiting for a chance to make their move. She's always armored up, always on guard. Your phrase is a signal. I'm not just interested in your cover. I'm interested in the book hidden beneath it. Your thoughts, your fears, your dreams, they matter to me. A realization flashes through her mind. I can be my real self with him. I'm not just desired, I'm valued. He sees a person, not an object. This creates a level of emotional intimacy that most men will never achieve. You stop being just a man to her and move into the category of my man, someone she can trust, someone with whom it's safe to take off the persona that social mask Jung talked about and reveal her true, vulnerable self. It is this total trust, this emotional nakedness that inevitably leads to physical nakedness. Because for a woman, sex isn't just physiology. It's the pinnacle of trust. And by creating that trust with your sincere attention, you make her want to be as close to you as possible. Not because you persuaded her, but because with you, she finally felt at home. Part 6. The biggest mistake, calibration, and CONTXT in now. For the bonus, but most important, part. Because even the most powerful weapon backfires in the hands of an amateur. The 5 phrases I've given you are not magic spells. They are tools. And if used incorrectly, they will turn from magic into cheap, sleazy manipulation and will only provoke disgust. The biggest mistake 99% of men make is a lack of calibration and context. They hear a cool phrase and start repeating it like parrots, without feeling the moment, without creating the right context, and most importantly, without sincerity. Imagine you're on a first date. She's telling you about her accounting job, and you lean in with a smoldering look and say, "You're driving me crazy." What will she feel? Awkwardness, insincerity, the feeling that you're just using a rehearsed pickup line. It's a disaster, or you've been on your phone all evening, and then suddenly you say, "I want to listen to you." She won't believe you, because your actions completely contradict your words. This is called being incongruent, and women can sense it from a mile away. Their intuition is a built-in lie detector. Remember 3 cardinal rules. First, context. Each phrase has its proper place. "You're driving me crazy" is for the peak of passion. "I want to remember this moment" is for the peak of romance. "I love how you do that" is for a moment when you are genuinely impressed by her actions. Don't mix up the scenes. Second, sincerity. You must actually feel what you're saying. If you're not fascinated by how she does something, stay silent. If you don't feel like she's making you a better person, don't say it. A fake compliment is worse than an insult. A woman will forgive you for being clumsy, but she will never forgive you for being deceitful. And third, non-verbals. Your words are only 7% of the communication. The rest is your voice, your eye contact, your body language. When you say, "I want to listen to you," you must put your phone away, turn your entire body towards her, and look her in the eyes. When you say, "You're driving me crazy," there must be fire in your voice, not boredom. These phrases aren't meant to get a woman. They are meant to make her feel unique, influential, loved, and desired. If your motive is to give, not to take, she will feel it. And then these words will truly become magic. Otherwise, they'll just be a collection of sounds. Conclusion. Your language is the key to her subsauyo so. What's the bottom line? We haven't just learned 5 clever phrases. We've received 5 keys to 5 different rooms in her soul. I love how you do that. Opens the room of her uniqueness, where she wants to be not just beautiful, but irreplaceable. I'm different with you. Opens the throne room of her influence, where she wants to be a muse, not an accessory. I want to remember this moment. Opens the library of her memory, where she dreams of becoming the heroine of your shared story. You're driving me crazy descends into the very basement of her instincts, where she craves to feel her primal feminine power. And I want to listen to you unlocks her inner sanctum, her holy of holies, the room of her absolute trust. But if you look even deeper, all these keys are united by one master principle. It is the shift from the male position of a judge to the position of a witness. A judge looks at a woman as an object. Beautiful, not beautiful, smart, dumb, suitable, unsuitable. He passes a verdict. A witness, however, sees her as a process, a phenomenon. He doesn't judge. He observes. He sees not just her smile, but how she smiles. Not just her intelligence, but how her mind works. And it is this total, engaged attention that is the highest form of value a man can give a woman. As Carl Jung said, our primary task is to connect not with a person's persona, their social mask, but with their true self. Most men spend their lives interacting with women's masks, complimenting the mask, trying to please the mask. And then they wonder why there's no real intimacy. These phrases, if spoken with sincerity at the right moment, allow you to pierce that armor. It's like you're saying to her, I see you. Not your role, not your image, but the real you. And I love it. For a woman who has to wear that mask every day, hearing something like that is like taking off tight shoes after a long day. It's a relief. It's bliss. It's the freedom to be herself. And the person who gives her that freedom automatically becomes irreplaceable to her stop, thinking that a woman can be won over by actions alone. That's a half-truth. An action without the right words is a silent film. Beautiful, but flat. A woman's brain is wired in a way that the speech center and the emotional center, the limbic system, are far more interconnected than in men. To her, your words are not just information. They are direct injections of emotion. Your language is your primary tool. By mastering it, you won't have to convince a woman. You will create an internal state, a hormonal and emotional field within her, where she herself will passionately desire to be with you. Today, we've broken down the verbal keys. But words are only half of the equation. The other half is nonverbal triggers, eye contact, touch, body language. That's exactly what we'll be dissecting in the next video. To make sure you don't miss it, ensure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. And now for the main question for you. Which of these 5 phrases do you think is the most powerful, and why? Or perhaps you have your own 6th aphrodisiac phrase. Share your story and opinion in the comments. I'll pin the most interesting ones.